it's not free. So I'm thinking the best thing to use right now is to use Zoom or Team or whatever it is.
Right.
Because you can't conduct the interviews on Telemis if you don't have applicants in there.
Okay. Now I know someone found out that you can import the applications into Thalamus. I don't, again, having never used Thalamus, I don't know what, I don't know if it's just a document sitting there and that's all you really need anyway. I honestly just have no clue because I've never done anything in it. My program director used it last year for sending the invitations, but because I was new to the program and she knew we were going to be changing things this year, she told me, let me just do it. And that way you don't have to learn something else new because I started like a month before. Well, actually, I started the day applications came out last year. I started on the 25th. So she said just not to overwhelm you with new stuff. I'll deal with that. So again, I've never really done anything in Thalamus, so I can't help you there. But I do know, I remember seeing someone comment that they can import the applications into Thalamus somehow.
Yes, they said they can upload it. I don't know if the format will be different based on errors and how it is. So I guess we have to wait and see. But as soon as you upload them, I guess they are there, but you will, there's a lot of maybe minor thing that we'll need to do if you don't send the application through it. But we have the choice. We have the choice.
Yes.
I had a question about, like, I spent a lot of time, not on the sandbox, but I set it on the wheel system. And because there's nobody there, I found it hard to do whatever it is that I want to do.
Right.
I don't know if people feel the same way. It's like it's not making any sense. We're going from 10 to 1 versus 1 to 10. I am trying to set up my tools, is that how they call it? Like my segment, which is a weird name, to call filters, and these evaluation. And every time I start, it doesn't go anywhere. Is it because there's nobody in there? That's why I don't see the change, or if me not doing it right?
Well, now for setting up your evaluations, you should be able to see that at least. I mean, so for application, you go here in your settings, evaluation forms, and this is where you set it up. And you, just like a lot of the things in here, there's a plus sign, and you go in and you give it a name and you create the form. And if you've ever used Google Forms, it's very similar to Google Forms. So I'm just going to go back to one that's already there.
Yes.
And so this is what you set up, whatever you want to call it. If you want sections and if they're required or not, you mark on the questions when you add them that they are required or they're not. You just check that. It's very easy to make changes to this. I've used it a number of times, playing around first, and then I have an application set, a review evaluation set up in our main portal. And you can't send it to anybody, but you can hit the try it so you can see what it looks like. And you can actually work through the evaluation. And I believe, you don't really submit it, I guess, but you can give it a test just to see what it looks like. And in the sandbox, you can set it up with a fake applicant. But the problem is, of course, you have to do it twice. So you might just want to do it part of it, not the whole thing. You might want to do just a couple of questions, and that way you can see what happens when someone answers those questions, because it does look different. There's when you look at the applicants after an evaluation has been done, there's some different information that you can see. The problem here is that I haven't spent a lot of time in the sandbox either. And so here you can't really see anything that I've set up because I haven't you know, I thought, why waste my time here? I'm going to spend my time doing things that actually we will use. So yeah, it's kind of a, you know, I pushed with a couple of people at the beginning when I found out that it was going to, those fake people were going to go away from the live portal at the end of August. I was like, you know, it's really going to be hard for people to work on this and learn it and do what they need to do if there's nothing in there for them to work with. And they said, well, we have to remove everybody so that we don't have any problems getting the applicants in or whatever. And, you know, as I said to somebody else the other day, it's kind of like if you don't know anything about a car and you go to a mechanic and they just tell you what's wrong and all you can say is okay because you really don't know for sure, even though you think that it's one thing. Well, no, it sounds like it's this, and they say, oh no, it's not that. And you know, you just have to say yes. And that's kind of where we are with these IT people, is that when they tell us they can't do something, all we can say is, oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see on your screen right now, there's the thing that says holistic score. This is the second column.
Yes, uh-huh.
So is this the same, is it the same form? Because in the other screen, you have the evaluation form, but there was also the holistic assessment. Is that the result of this column here? Or is it something different?
I am not positive, to be honest, because this is, well, as you see, this is the different things that are being weighed. And I think, and I'm not positive, and I won't know till there's a real person in there, but I think that their AI algorithm looks at the application and gives everyone a score based on these different metrics. And then your evaluations, you can change those metrics, right? You
Yes.
can do that. I think it's up here, right?
In the
So
way
you change the metrics, the distribution. No, that's not
the
where.
way that this is where you have to click on the weight.
Yeah, go
So
back to
here,
academic metrics and
You
then
can
click
go
on where it says weights.
on weights. This is how you change it.
yeah, right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
And
weights,
so
and
then
you
you
can
change
adjust.
to what is important to you. And then it changes those things. And I believe that when you put your evaluation in, it's going to apply those to what people say somehow. But again, I'm not positive how this works, but we really aren't using this. My program director isn't going to be, so she hasn't changed any weights or anything, because for her, and I see what she's saying, she doesn't, you know, when you're looking at the different reasons, like, you know, everybody doesn't need a master's degree, let's say. So for diversity, then really it shouldn't probably have any higher weight than some other things. Because to get diversity, it's not just diversity of, you know, gender, race, you know, what all, it's also diversity of experience, diversity of, you know, a lot of other things are a part of it. So kind of selecting like how much patient care you want. This, you may have somebody with not very much patient care experience, but they have a lot of, you know, something else, you know, that's not even in this weight. Maybe it's a different section of this. Maybe it's under, you know, their background and lived experience or something. So, but again, is it more important that they're first generation? Well, no, not necessarily, but that's something to look at. So that's why I say, I think she's just leaving it the way it
The
comes.
way it is, yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I tweaked mine adjust a little bit in terms of things that I didn't think that was important. I just put them at 0 so they don't count.
sure.
So they
Yeah.
don't count at all. But it's very
But I am not positive what makes this change or how, other than those weights. I think there is some correlation between the review of the evaluator, but I'm not positive.
Okay. All right, thank you
But
so
you
much.
could try that out in the sandbox. So you could actually see if it changed. Like you could go into the sandbox, you could pick somebody, you can assign, an evaluation to yourself. You could complete the evaluation in the review portal, and then you could see the result of that. So
Okay,
you could tell what happens. I kind of did that a little while ago, and I just can't really remember what happened, how it was changed.
Yeah, when you change the because on this section, you see where it has holistic score, and then you can also add your evaluation score as a column. So as
Oh.
you score, as the faculty score the applications, it will show up on this page. So you can see the holistic score, you can see your regular evaluation score. And if you choose to use the holistic score, then you can add them. Or you can just look at it just as a point of reference and not necessarily make it be a determining factor.
Okay, so maybe you answer my question, is the same evaluation. It's just like this one is set. This one is set, the one that says holistic score, because why would it set it there? And then I can have a second column, which is my own evaluation, so I can see them right next to each other. Okay, maybe it's the
Yeah,
same.
there should be, I think. If there's not a one of these grid columns, you can create that from your evaluation. I haven't really looked to see if there was a grid column for that. I don't see it. This is mostly so many things. Think they can have all this detail, but they can't change it to let us adjust our interviews by minutes. So, yeah, I think that's something you would have to create using those I can't remember the name of it, but I have it here.
What I found
using
challenging with this
those
program.
calculated fields, you could create a calculated field
Okay,
for your evaluations. I think that's how you would have to do it.
okay,
Yeah, I don't. And that's why they recommend that when you create your evaluations, you give it a numerical instead of a yes, no, but yes would be 1, no would be 2. You give it numerical, because that's how this program assesses things, using numbers.
oh Lord, okay.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I think Christy has a question. I'll let her go before I ask my other question. I don't want to go take all the time.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you
you're
so
okay,
much.
Shirley. Stephanie, can you hear me?
Yes,
You mentioned earlier that you're not using ResidencyCAS for your interviews.
right.
Why is that?
Well, because our schedule is way too complicated for ResidencyCAS. It can't handle it.
Okay, are you using Zoom?
We are going to use Zoom.
Okay.
Because here's what we do. We have 2 people, our program director and our chair, who meet for 10 minutes with each candidate or applicant of the day. There is no break between them, so it's a 10-minute session. And ResidencyCAS requires every session to be at least 15 minutes.
Oh.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is then we have 3 teams of interviewers who each have a room. So there'll be 4 rooms in one team, and they will interview, let's say there's 30 candidates interviewing in the day. They'll interview 10 of those candidates. And then we have another team they'll interview 10, and another team that will interview 10. But they don't interview as a team, they interview individually. So we have to have separate, you know, we have to
Sections.
have a schedule for each of those 10 applicants in those 3 teams. And it's completely impossible to set that up. I actually sent our spreadsheet to liaison and said, can this be done? And they said no.
Okay.
So we have two reasons that we can't. Even if they fix the time issue, that won't fix the complexity issue that we have.
Okay, so that makes sense. So I have 2 sessions that one starts at 8 a.m. and then we have another session that starts at 10 a.m., but they're overlapping each other. So while, so the first session is doing their presentations, and then they go into their interviews. And halfway through the interviews, I have my next session start with their welcome. And then then they start their interviews. While they're halfway through their interviews, the second session, the first session is doing the close. But the applicants are staying there until they all leave. And then we still have the other session. So they're overlapped.
So they are, but they aren't. I think you could set up 2 sessions. I think, I'm not positive, but I think in the interview portal, you could set up session 1, say it's from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and session 2, that's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Let's just say for grins.
Okay.
And because you're going to have different people in each of those sessions and they're created as 2 separate sessions, I think you could probably do that as long as each interview period is at least 15 minutes.
I can't do that though.
Including a review period. So you could have a 10-minute interview with a 5-minute review period. But if you have a 10-minute interview with a 2-minute review period, you can't do it.
Got it. And are you
And in the meeting where they all come together, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have it there anyway. You'll have it in those meeting rooms. They're a
see.
completely different thing from the interview session.
Okay. Are you sending your interview invitations through ResidencyCAS or separately?
Well, they have asked us all to send it through ResidencyCAS, and to do that, there's 2 things. If you are going to offer 2 options, let's say you have 2 days and you're going to offer 2, or even for you, the sessions, if you want to offer them to select their session, you would have to set those sessions up in the interview portal, and then you send them out an email. This is a sample of the email. And in that email, there's a link to tell them to log into the interview portal, and they can specify their preference. If you're only going to invite them and you're going to assign the day, let's say that you're going to say, I'm going to choose who does what day.
Okay.
Then you can just use the live portal, the main program portal, and you don't have to use the interview portal at all.
Oh.
Because they're not going in and choosing anything, but they'll get their email invitation from ResidencyCAS, which is what the people
Standards.
in the positions higher up are asking us to do.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. It does. Thank you.
Sure.
So, thank you so much. I have the same problem as you, Stephanie. I won't be able to use this portal because of how complicated my schedule is. Now, having said that, I will send the invitation through ResidencyCAS. Now, so I'm gonna be using 2 platforms. So I'm still using ResidencyCAS, so my interviewer have access to the application and also to the whatever it is evaluation that I set up for them. So they will be using 2 screens, I'm assuming, my Zoom screen on the side, and then the Zoom, and then the screen for the ResidencyCAS portal. So I lost my screen. They're staying they're not gonna go into this thing in the interview portal, they're gonna say in the program portal, right?
Well, probably not.
Okay,
My understanding is that ResidencyCAS liaison is working on some sort of abbreviated interview portal that can be used in the situation you're talking about, where the interviewers need to see the invitations. I mean, not the invitations, sorry, the applications. And they need to be able to maybe fill out an evaluation form. And all of that can be done in it. And they would be in the interview portal to do that. But probably my understanding is that the candidates wouldn't be in the interview portal, just the interview.
interviewers.
But again, they're working on that, and here we are, a
Almost
week,
a month away, yep.
a week from, and a month from our first interviews, basically, and it's not ready. So, that's to me, it's just not acceptable, if you ask me. It's not, that's
It is stressful,
really
it
cutting
is
it
stressful.
close.
So I, as of right now, I haven't put my evaluators or my reviewers in the system as of yet, because I know they're not gonna, I wasn't gonna use this system.
Okay, now the review portal is a completely different thing, right? So and I don't know how you do it. Like, we don't have the same people interview and review. We have different people. We have some people who cross over, but
Same
the
here.
reviewers, the people that are going to review the applications before you decide who to invite,
Yeah,
you would want to you might as well use this for that, because this is easy. This is like your ERAS. So if you ever used ERAS, I always did for my reviewers. They went in, I assigned them their people they were to review. They have their evaluation in there, and they fill that out and, use that, because that's, to me, that one's pretty clean. It doesn't need a lot, because I think they've had this. I think Liaison has had this program portal and maybe even the review portal in the past. This interview portal is a brand new thing for them this year, for us. Okay, we're the guinea pigs here, and
so,
they're figuring out. So you would want to put your reviewers in, and you want to invite them to the review portal.
yes, so as of now, as you're saying, the review portal is easy. So I already have the people who will be reviewing the application in the system already, because they will have access to the group of people that I will assign to them. So my concern is my group, my resident, who's also part of interviews, right? And then my interviewers, other faculty who will be reviewing people. So this is where I don't know what they're gonna say or how they're gonna see the applicants, since I'm not using.
That is what hopefully they're working on, and they're going to have pretty soon.
Okay.
Is this way for you to use that. We aren't going to do it. My program director said, I'm not telling people to open 2 different portals. They're going to open their Zoom, and they're going to use Zoom, because they don't all even have 2 screens. It would be really hard to have your Zoom meeting and all that other information up on one screen. So
we're printing application, we're going back to printing applications then?
yeah, we may have to this year. Like, I always used ERAS for applications, and if they wanted to review them, that's where they went. They went into ERAS. There probably is a way that they can go into the program portal. I just don't know that they will see them, individually there. I think the way it's set up, I don't think, if you give them access to the program portal, I think they'll be able to see everyone. And so then they would have to look for the people that they're interviewing. If they're not interviewing everyone, that's not going to be a good thing. And
Oh,
plus, you're going to have to show them how to use the the main portal. Because, this whole thing up here, this with where applicants are and everything, that, and the segment thing and all that is kind of confusing. I mean, you would need a couple of hours to kind of go through and show them everything, and then they probably wouldn't remember. So, I think hopefully this thing they're working on is what you would use for your interviewers, your residents, and your faculty who are interviewing on interview day. And if that isn't the case, then yes, either printing or sending PDFs of the, applications, which actually is probably what I'll do. I'll send PDFs. They can print them if they want it printed. I'll just put them put the applications in the order that they're going to interview. That way they can just scroll through them easily. And, it's a lot more work for me because I'll have to bookmark applications with where the information is, so that they can easily find it. And yeah, it's a lot more work, but that's what we'll have to do. If this thing doesn't work and for me, we're not going to use it, then that's what I'm going to have to do.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah. Anything else from anyone?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, ladies. I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm off to another meeting.
Okay. Bye, Mariana.
Let us know about the next one.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye.
Stephanie, thank you for
Yes,
this
you're-
session.
Sure, you're welcome. And
So helpful.
I did record it. Someone requested. I wasn't going to record it because the last one I didn't record. We kind of didn't do very much. So this one I didn't start a recording, and I probably should have because we did a little more, but I will upload it. And as long as YouTube doesn't decide I'm bullying someone, then it'll be there.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome.
you.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.